Tiny phone people, it's finally happening. My first ever Tube to the U video is finally being launched. And what better way to do it than to rewind and start from the beginning? I suppose it all really began over here when I was about 2.5. After being born in Epsom, London, my parents decided that moving to the country and being situated in the middle of the Malvern Hills would be an ideal situation for a tiny monster like myself. As I grew up, I ventured to Europe and lived and worked in Paris for 12 years before returning to the UK just 7 years ago. And when I returned here to a barn that we'd converted when I was 19. It's funny the way life works. The original greenhouse that got me into this passion actually resides next to the house that I live in today. Once settled in my new abode, I was able to let my passion rip and finally transform my house into an indoor jungle. Right, come on then, we're doing this. Now, there are certain areas of the house that I haven't actually been allowed to colonize yet, and one being the kitchen. So far, I've managed to work in a variegated hibiscus that flowered for the first time after 4 years, an outdoor plant that my missus decided she wanted to keep inside of the house, and a few cacti for the cat to look at while she's monging. Don't get too sidetracked by the jungle-esque portal behind me, for right now I'm sitting in the dining room. This room was more jungle before, but I was told that the dining room should be a family area, so we've reduced it to only a few plants and of course my beloved terrarium. Now, I've got quite a few shorts on how I set up this bad boy quite a while ago, and it now houses a couple of newts and 5 poison dart frogs. It's got a mister at the top and it's on an automatic sprinkler system for 10 seconds every hour. Can't really see inside this for now, but I made this recently in a workshop in preparation for my speech at Malvern Show later this year. I believe it's May the 24th. I might see some of you there. I do love a good Dieffenbachia, and lots of people do comment about the size and girth of this bastard here. He's resided in the dining room next to what I would consider a large window and growing off a 36-watt Sansi bulb, and seems to be rather happy. No drainage holes in this pot at all. It's a sticky finger in job that is moist. I'm not going to water it. The end. All right, we're going to do this, people. You're about to enter into what I would consider an indoor jungle. It's been 5 years in the making, and I'm going to allow you to bask in what I consider probably 30 seconds of deep, relaxing house. The downstairs area of the jungle consisted of me originally taking over the entrance area, but soon, due to passion and the fact that I couldn't stop myself from buying plants, it slowly entered into the living room and then Charlotte's office. I then kicked Charlotte into the other end of the room and took over her office. Now she resides somewhere down there. I'd soon filled most of the downstairs areas that I was allowed to fill. I'd even filled a few areas that I wasn't allowed to, but I still needed more space. In order to achieve this, number one, I decided to extend my taller plants into the upstairs area. Number two, decided that banisters around staircases were merely plant pot holders. 3, I realized that I lived in a barn and the wooden beams would replace moss poles, allowing me to grow plants up the actual walls of my house. And number 4, my friend Christian and his team to build me an indoor oak-framed greenhouse instead of my mezzanine area. Let's take a few seconds to appreciate the beauty before delving into my indoor greenhouse. was saying, it then led me to build an indoor greenhouse as my love for anthurium and higher humidity-loving plants took over. This 8-foot by 10-foot indoor greenhouse houses some of my most prized possessions. A lot nurtured from small one-leaf cuttings, some imported, some swapped, some given, and some bought for 4 figures. Enough talking, let me show you. Now, I have turned off 2 of the fans in here, however there's one still turning, so excuse me if the audio isn't up to scratch. I'm standing on pea gravel, so it's going to make a noise like this each time I walk. I think over time I'll do a more in-depth tropical greenhouse update, but for now I'll give you some sort of an idea of what I keep inside. These big leaf wonders here are actually cuttings that I took from a gloriosum and a McDowell, as well as a pasdesanum down there, and I will be selling in my plant sale that I will be doing later this year. I'm going to do an open house plant sale. There's going to be some good reggae music, and lots of my propagations will be up for sale. Anyway, back to this. Propagation, big leaves, crawlers. Over at the back there, which you probably can't see, we've got some fuzzy petioles. We've got an SP Columbian over here, which is an absolutely stunning plant, loves high humidity. Frizio Verde, Indonesian Adansonii. Sick looking bastard, but he's beautiful in his own right. Here you can't see it, but variegated Epipremnum pinnatum, Monstera Adansonii frozen freckles, 2 different types of archipelago, and Albo Adansonii, some begonias at the bottom, Peruvian and Colombian obliquas, an Enjoy golden, quite a high-res golden pothos. Don't know how well you can see that there, but it is a rather nice example of the golden. Now, in the corner over here, I don't know if you can see this, but this is, I reckon, about 90 centimeters long, this Queen Anthurium leaf here. Got a nice little baby leaf coming out here, which is still growing. I've got high hopes for him. And these lovely Veitchii as well, a nice mature form. I've got a couple of smaller ones over there, but this bad boy I got as a tiny, teeny baby a long time ago, and he's finally starting to get some quite nice shaped leaves. The Regale in the corner, an aberrant form rugosum, which is love-hate actually. Lots of people don't like it because it's got really curled up leaves, like a sort of cauliflower ear in the corner. But anything weird and wacky I love, so I absolutely love that plant. There's a tortum growing up in the corner. There's all sorts. I need to spend more time with you. I need to create more long form, and I need to explain more about these plants. But for now, let's have a look over this side. We've got a Pappy crossed here. Don't know what the hell it's crossed with, but it's gorgeous. Crystallinum X. We've got mint monsteras too. Bigger one here, smaller one here. I'm going to air layer that. And I'm making a short form Instagram reel on air layering, which is absolutely incredible. If you're scared of cutting your plant, you don't have to. You can root it while it's still on the plant, and then once rooted, chop it off and pot it up immediately. Thank me later. So we've got a Jopii. Now I'm going to show you another leaf over there because you might not be able to see it. It's gigantic. It's insane. This plant has developed over time to camouflage itself by pretending that half of the plant has been eaten, so that any type of insect or predator mammal will not eat it. It's absolutely incredible. We've got a beautiful, I'll bring him out because he's easy access, beautiful example of a mature form luxurians here. Absolutely stunning, with a beautiful inflorescence that's been rubbed up the right way and hopefully will create me some lovely berries. Second Veitchii is over here. They're a fatter form of it. The SP Columbian earlier I spoke about over here, smaller version. It is the melon platinum kind. Beautiful. Now here's one that I wanted for ages. Honestly, probably about 4 years, and I could have probably got it before, but I just didn't bother searching too much. However, recently swapped a cutting of my mint monstera for a selection of plants, and this was within the selection. I love it. I think it's absolutely glorious. Mainly anthuriums up here. And some rarer ones. Lovely variegated Scindapsus here. Beautiful variegated. It's not the caramel marble, that's something else, but can't remember what it is. That's the caramel marble there, stunner. Collection of Hoyas down the bottom. More anthuriums over here, some philodendron skeleton keys, platinum Scindapsuses. There's truly all sorts. We need to redo a video on the greenhouse because there's too much to fit into one video. It's not possible. No, I said I'd stop, but I did promise this Jopii. Look at the size of that leaf. I do hope this is being filmed well, because that is, I mean, that's longer than my forearm. That goes from the tip of my fingers, nearly the whole length of my arm. Now, don't get me wrong, I am a medium-sized human being, but that's still pretty fucking large. Right, let's tie this up. Follow me. Before we go any further, yes, that is a gigantic Begonia maculata behind me, and I challenge anybody to find me a bigger one on the face of this earth. Secondly, thank you for tuning in and listening and giving up possibly what could be 20 to 30 minutes of your life. Now, I've been creating content on Instagram and TikTok for a while now and sharing those shorts to YouTube too, but finally took a great leap of faith and decided to attempt to make longer content. Today was an attempt to share a little bit of background with you on who I am and why the fuck I've arrived here. Give you a taste, a glimpse into my biophilic lifestyle and what I've been able to create. So for now, I hope that that's tingled your taste buds and given you a want or a need to understand more. Over the next year, I intend to dedicate a lot more time into creating this longer form content and spreading more love on the tube to the you. Until then, I wish you love, light, peace, and harmony from the bottom of my heart and my wife's bottom too. One love, tiny phone people.